Hello and welcome to Papa Stig. Today I'd like to talk about contact with birth parents. My husband and I, when we adopted our children 6 years ago, we made a contact arrangement organised by the social workers, which was then a letterbox contact with birth mom and birth dad of our children. It's also contact arrangements out there. It could be everything from having direct contact with the birth parents at the contact centre to having indirect contact like ourselves through letterbox contact, and also maybe direct contact with other siblings as well. And in some cases it's recommended not to have any contact at all. For us, we are doing a letter once a year, and this is then organised through the letterbox coordinator at the local authority where our children were from. We agreed that that was going to be in springtime because I didn't want it to be very close to Christmas and birthday. It's normally a very emotional time when we are doing the letterbox contact, and you can also see the changes in the behaviour on the children as well. They can be a little bit more fidgety, a little bit more anxious, and wondering when the letter is going to arrive. So what we did for the first years, when we got the letter from the letterbox coordinator to write our own letter, we did it without involving the children, because we were quite aware that maybe the birth parents were not going to reply. So normally what we included in this letter was more about what we had done for the last year, how the children are doing at school, how they're progressing, how they're growing up, their activities, and what their hobbies are. And what we did for the last 2 years was that we also have included the children. So we will suggest the letter, we having then conversations about it, if it's any other things they like to include, and then we of course get that included as well. And then we send it off. And then sort of the waiting game is a little bit, because it's sometimes it can take some time before we are getting a reply from birth parents. What can be challenging with the letterbox contact is that you are waiting for replies. And like this year, we sent our letter for a couple of months ago, and we have already got a reply from birth dad, which is fantastic to understand sort of what is going on in his life, which we can then share with the boys. And normally what we do when we receive the letter is that we find a very special moment for all 5 of us to sit upstairs together in the bed, and then we are reading then through our own letter and then reading the reply we have received. It's very emotional. I find it very emotional as well. It's lots of tears, and but at the same time it's also great moments for us to talk about the life story as well. So this can also be helping this as well. And both myself and my husband, we are very open about the history of the boys, and we very often talk about their life story. So we don't have a problem with that. But I can also understand that all this is different from family to family, and the background for the children as well. And regarding contact, we actually had the opportunity to meet birth mom, and that was just maybe a year after we adopted the boys, where we got that opportunity. And I will say that was one of the most important meetings I had in my life with a person, because here we were actually meeting the birth mom of our 3 children, where I can see the likeness in her with our 3 boys. And in the conversations we had with her, we got then answers to lots of our questions. We had actually prepared some questions, and also she had prepared some questions as well, and we were in there with our social worker and our children's birth mom's social worker as well. So I will definitely recommend that. We didn't tell the boys that we were going up to see her, but then obviously afterwards we shared that with them slowly. We put it into conversations and said, actually your birth mom said this and this, which was absolutely something unique compared to just referring to something in a report. But going back to letterbox contact, is the hard part is that when you don't get any replies, and lately we have been waiting for birth mom's reply to our letter, and it's obviously that anxious time where you can just pick it up from the children that they're very anxious and thinking about what is the reason why we haven't received a reply. And I can just remember my oldest son last year, he was expressing out of context with a letterbox. He was saying that, do you think I can feel inside if my birth mom is dead? And I picked up sort of the link there with us not receiving a reply, and obviously we spent some time talking about that, and also talking about something very special, because we know that the birth parents love them, and it was because they were not able to look after them, and out of love they were giving them up for adoption. And it's then, in our case, obviously the cases can be totally different. We always reassure them that the birth parents love them so much. And sometimes I could just look at myself, if I'm doing something very, very special, like in this case, writing a very special letter. Sometimes you feel you need to wait for the right special moment to write this special letter. And that's why sometimes as an adult the time is just flying, and that could be the reason why birth mom is late replying. So we are sort of talking about it in that way. But we feel still that a letterbox contact is important for our children, and also if we are not receiving any replies, we will continue sending our letters, because I know that the birth parents really appreciate it as well. And of course our children can also then see that we have done that every year. And obviously the original letters are kept on file, so our boys are able to see all of them as well when they are 18, if they like to look into the file as well. Because the only problem as well with letterbox contact is that the social workers will actually take out part of the letter they don't feel is appropriate for the children. So when we receive the letters, it's maybe some of the information which have been taken out. And we had that especially for 3 years ago, because birth dad found a new partner, and she had also 3 boys from a previous relationship, and one of the 3 children were called the same as our oldest son as well. And that was a very difficult moment for him, and they felt that it wasn't the right time to share it. But because we are progressing so much, they felt now that it was okay for us to share that kind of details as well. So good luck with your letterbox contact or direct contact with your birth parents. But this was just a sort of a little bit information about what we do regarding contact with birth parents. So thank you so much for watching my vlog. You can follow me on YouTube or Facebook or my blog papastig.com. Thank you and have a good day.